You think you know yourself. But you only know the parts you've accepted. There's another version of you that lives in silence. It hides behind your reactions, your habits, and your choices. It's the reason you overreact to small insults, sabotage your relationships, or chase goals that feel hollow. Carl Jung called it the shadow. It's the collection of every thought, feeling, and impulse you've ever rejected. All the traits you've buried under politeness, performance, or pride. And it doesn't disappear just because you ignore it. It waits. The shadow begins early. As children, we're taught what is lovable and what is not. We're rewarded for being good, quiet, obedient. We're scolded for being loud, angry, or sad. Each time you heard "don't cry" or "stop being dramatic," a part of you learned to hide. You learned that love was conditional. So you pushed certain parts of yourself into the dark. Those exiled emotions don't die. They grow roots. They form the parts of your personality that you later struggle to control. You might think you've outgrown that conditioning, but those messages still live inside you. When you feel shame for resting, guilt for saying no, or fear of disappointing someone, that's the shadow tugging at you. It's reminding you that you once learned love was something to earn, not something you already had. The shadow doesn't announce itself. It whispers through your reactions. It hides in your judgments. It speaks in the moments you say, "I don't know what came over me." It's the voice that drives you to prove yourself, to compete, to control, to please. And it convinces you that it's protecting you. You meet your shadow every time you judge someone else. You hate arrogance because it reminds you of your own hidden desire for power. You despise manipulation, but you secretly use charm to get what you want. You roll your eyes at people who show off, but part of you aches for that same confidence. Everything that irritates you about others can lead you to an understanding of yourself. The shadow projects outward what you refuse to see inward. And as long as you keep pointing fingers, you stay blind to what's really yours. In relationships, the shadow takes center stage. You fall for the same kind of person over and over. Different face, same story. You tell yourself it's fate, but it's repetition. You attract what you haven't healed. If you suppress anger, you'll attract partners who express it for you. If you deny your need for control, you'll end up with someone who dominates you. If you bury your vulnerability, you'll meet people who can't connect emotionally. Until you integrate the parts of you that you reject, you'll keep encountering them in others. The shadow also lives in ambition. It hides behind drive and productivity. You may chase success, not because you love what you do, but because you're terrified of being ordinary. You may crave attention not from confidence, but from the fear that you don't matter. You tell yourself you want purpose, but what you really want is permission. Permission to feel enough. The shadow disguises insecurity as motivation. It whispers, if you just achieve more, then you'll be safe. Then you'll finally be worthy. But you can't outrun emptiness with accomplishment. It follows you from goal to goal, asking quietly, now that you have everything you wanted, who are you without it? Jung warned that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You think you're choosing your path freely, but if you never face the shadow, it's choosing for you. Every time you repeat an old mistake and call it bad luck, that's your unconscious leading. Every time you react the same way and swear you'll change next time, that's the shadow steering. It doesn't ruin your life out of malice. It just keeps replaying the story until you learn to read it. The first step to integration is awareness. To notice the patterns without judgment. To stop labeling parts of yourself as good or bad. You are not one thing. You are everything. Light and dark, calm and chaos, pride and fear. To see your shadow is to take responsibility for the person you really are, not the person you perform as. It's not about fixing yourself. It's about seeing yourself completely. Integration feels like breaking at first. The ego resists. It says, if I admit this part of me exists, I'll lose control. But control is the illusion. You never had control, you just had denial. True power comes when you stop pretending. When you can say, yes, that's me, I'm jealous. I'm afraid. I want to be loved. I want to be seen. That honesty disarms the shadow. It no longer needs to sabotage you to get your attention. When you integrate your darkness, you also reclaim your vitality. The energy you use to suppress yourself becomes available for creativity, compassion, and presence. Your anger turns into boundaries. Your envy turns into inspiration. Your fear turns into awareness. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop projecting and start connecting. You stop running from who you are and begin to live with your whole self. Most people never reach this point. They build personalities around avoidance. They become experts at distraction, always busy, always chasing, always fixing. They confuse performance with growth. But you can't heal what you won't look at. And you can't become whole while pretending to be pure. The shadow is not your enemy. It's the part of you that's been exiled, waiting to be welcomed back. It's your lost authenticity, your creativity, your capacity to feel deeply. When you face it, you stop being half alive. You begin to act with intention instead of impulse. You stop being a victim of fate and start being a participant in your own becoming. Facing your shadow doesn't mean you'll be free from conflict. It means the conflict will finally make sense. You'll recognize when an old wound is speaking. You'll pause before projecting it onto someone else. You'll see the difference between truth and trauma. And in that moment of awareness, you get to choose differently. So ask yourself, what do I judge most harshly in others? What emotion do I fear in myself? What part of me have I decided doesn't deserve love? That's your shadow calling from beneath the surface. And the longer you ignore it, the louder it gets. To meet it is to reclaim your life. To listen is to become whole. The shadow is the doorway to freedom, not from darkness, but through it. Because what you refuse to face will always control you. And what you face, you finally set free.